Hey guys, welcome back. So we are going to go back to our technique sheet for part 2. This one's going to be a little bit quicker. We're just going to go through and see what happened to the different things here. And then we're going to do our final ribbon gradient that I'm showing you here. So we're going to have like the light source hitting here, and then you'll have dark areas and light areas with a gradual transition. So let's start over here with our resist. So if you just take this, it's kind of just a rubbery film. If you just take it and you can rub on there just with your finger, or you can take an eraser, as long as it's totally dry, and you can just erase off some of that masking fluid. You don't want to press too hard on the paper either way, and it just kind of balls up. Goes off to the side. This shows you how that resist works. So now you can see that original paper revealed that was protected by the masking fluid. So that's what this one does. So the cool thing about that masking fluid is that then you can paint over it again if you want to. You can also use that masking fluid over other painted areas. Whatever it does is it protects the paper beneath it. So whatever you put on this masking fluid on there, it will just like act as a barrier between the water and the paint and the paper. So I could go over here to this wash and use the masking fluid on it now, let the masking fluid dry, and then I can do another color over it as kind of a layering effect. So that's the cool thing with the masking fluid. Something that I'll show you on another tutorial later is the crayon. The thing with the crayon though, it does the same thing, except for once you put the crayon on the paper, it's wax. So that wax will stay on there. It's not something that you can remove. So it acts as like a complete barrier. So you can use, I have a broken crayon, you can tell we're in hard times here, or you can use this wax crayon. So moving that eraser, kind of moved to the plastic wrap. You can see what happens with the plastic wrap. It's a super cool effect. It's like broken glass. Going over here to the masking tape. If I just carefully peel back that masking tape at an angle, remember it's important again that it's totally dry. You don't want to remove that masking tape when it's still wet. I pull at a 45-degree angle. Kind of wants to take some of that paper with it. Carefully remove that. The thing about the masking tape also is you don't want to leave it on your paper for very long. It'll tear your paper. This paper kind of tore a little bit right there. So there's that. Alright, so let's start working on this ribbon here. And I'm going to show you again what our goal is. You want to have a light source. So that's where the light is shining on it. You're going to pretend like the light is over here. So it's going to be lighter in here and over here where the ribbon curls around. And over here it'll start to get lighter where it shines over it. But their shadow and their shadow. So I'm going to use my smaller brush. I have my paper towel. And with watercolor it's easier to paint light to dark, because you can always go darker. But once you go too dark, you can't get it lightened up again. So I'm going to do an overview. Just going to do a flat wash basically right here. And then I'll do it over here too. If you don't have a smaller flat brush, you can use your round brush or your larger flat brush for this. Then I'm going to slowly go darker. I'm going to go darker I'm going to mix my colors a little bit, get a darker blue here. This is my darker area. And if I push down, you can kind of tease out the edge here. And then I'm going to get a clean brush and I'm going to pull. This is the part that's harder than it looks. I've done this a few times. So I'm going to get a clean brush. I'm going to clean up this little curve. Some lifting. And I'm going to hurry over to this area over here. Trying to get this shadow in over here. Kind of drop it in over here. I have a pretty harsh line there that I need to now soften, so I'm going to get my brush wet and I'm going to tease this out right here. And then dab, and I'm going to lift at the edge. And kind of add to it a little bit, drop it back in. Again, notice as I paint with watercolor, I'm not doing this action. This is this is an acrylic or oil paint motion. And I'm going to lift at the edge and just kind of tease that out. Now here, I'm going to do a lighter gradient as well. I'm going to leave a little space right here at the tip of that ribbon, because if I touch in the edge, that water is going to blend all together. I'm going to leave a little edge there. A slight shadow right here. So I'm going to leave a little white area there. So to show you what I'm talking about with watercolor, whenever you're painting, if you want to put two areas close to each other, if you have an area that's wet, I don't know if you can see that, but if you have an area that's wet, I'm going wet onto dry, wet onto dry. I can go right up next to it and it won't blend, but if I touch that edge, it'll blend out into it. It'll bloom. You see that? I can go next to it, next to it, next to it, but the moment I touch that edge, it'll bloom out. So at the top of that ribbon, right here, you'll want to make sure you leave that little bit of white area so it doesn't bloom out and mess up your ribbon. And then once it's dry, you can tease out that edge. So I'm going to go in here and keep working on that gradient just a little bit. I'm going to get a little darker right in here. Careful not to touch that edge. Just soften that right here. I think I'm going to bring this darker area over just a little bit. And there you go. Thank you for watching. Now it's your turn.